All right, testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. All right, testing 1 2 3. All right, beautiful, beautiful. First and foremost, I'm gonna start off this lesson by giving all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rechakadash. Double honor to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and have taught me this word in truth and sincerity. Peace and mercy to the whole full elect, starting with the 144,000. All right, that's also pushing this word in truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. Your fellow servant of Moth of GMS Toronto, coming at you again with another live lesson. And this is going to be another edition of Doomsday's Prophecies. Doomsday Prophecies, as you see here. Woe to the Lady of Kingdoms. Okay? Woe to the Lady of Kingdoms. So I'm going to open up with this precept, and I got a clip that I'll get into. This is Isaiah 47:5. It reads, "Sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans." All right. The modern day Chaldeans, all right, are the top wicked elite, the international bankers, which they go back to the tribe, the nation of Edom, the chief tribe of that nation, which is Amalek. When you go into this word, it tells you the wisest of the land. And although the scriptures tell us that the knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom, Esau Edom does. These top wicked elites were given the power to deceive, and they deceive the whole world. Okay, especially you Americans. Okay, yeah, it says here those persons considered the wisest in the land. Okay, so that's the top wicked elite, international bankers, if you will. Right. So the lady, the daughter of the Chaldeans, okay, is America, because America has been infiltrated by these international elites, and their government is infiltrated by foreign uh, foreign people, really, the Amalekites. Okay, so I'll read this again. It says, "Sit thou," forgive me, down with a little bit of a sore throat. "Sit down silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans," right, America, "for thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms." Okay, and we're witnessing that. And really, this started right in the late '60s, right, early '70s, up until now, is when this man is when America was on its way out, already on its decline. Okay, "I was wroth with my people," right, the Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and speckled birds out there. "I was wroth with my people. I've polluted my inheritance," right, by what? Taking our identity away. Okay, and the Lord did this through the heathens. He scattered us among the heathens. And then when you read Psalms 83, it tells you that these are the top wicked elites of these heathen nations. Esau, Edom, Amalek, on down, have been confederate with one another, all right, to basically make sure we don't wake up to knowing who we really are, all right? But through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai via prophecy, we've awoken here in the latter days to who we are, the name of the Lord, his son's name, our Savior, Yahweh Shai, the truth of the Bible, all right, and who our enemy is. Okay. So it says, "I was wroth with my people, I have polluted my inheritance and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient um hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke." Let me read this in NLT. It says, verse 5, "O beautiful Babylon, sit now in darkness and silence. Never again will you be known as the Queen of Kingdoms. For I was angry with my chosen people and punished them," okay, "by letting them fall into your hands." So chattel slavery, all the oppression up until this very moment, has all been because of our punishment of disobeying the Heavenly Father. He put us into the hands of the heathen, starting with Esau, Edom. Okay, but now there's a changing of guards taking place. Okay, as we're witnessing prophecy, all right, manifest right before our eyes. It says, "But you, Babylon, showed them no mercy. You oppressed even the elderly." Okay, it says, "And thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thine heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it." Verse 7, it says, "You said, I will reign forever as a queen of the world," right? You, and this is NLT, "you did not reflect on your actions or think about their consequences," right? Starting from the president, all right down to the average everyday American person, right? The American people always thought that America would be a great country forever. And that's just not true, as we're witnessing the shame, right? Going to the Epstein files, right? The corruption, okay? And now it's getting involved in war and always has been, okay? It's been in, I don't even know exactly how much, but since America's inception, it's been in war, back and forth, okay? So, because really, I wanted to mention, because really when you get into it, see the international bankers that basically infiltrated America and infiltrated all aspects of the economy of America, America's economy, right? The financial system, the educational system, the medical system, the workforce, so on and so forth, right? America was only being used for a time period, even by the top week of the league. And now they're getting ready to be done with this whole. Okay. This is why they're basically, as the scripture says, the least of the flock, which is who? Those the tiny tops, right? The least of the flock, right, shall draw them out. Draw who out? The American people, aka Babylon the Great. Draw them out into what? War, as you're seeing this take place right now. World War III. Okay. And why are they doing that? They're doing that because evidently they're done with America. All right. So your president and all, the president right now, Trump, he's really just a puppet. All right. He's a puppet. And even he doesn't know the full scope of what he's doing and what he's involved in. Okay. So let me continue on. It says, and thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it. Okay. Verse 8. Therefore, hear now this thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that saith in thine heart, I am and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. Okay. And the American people are the last people to think that anything's going to happen to them because of their great pride, right? That great pride. All right. MAGA, right? Now MAGA's falling apart. That enchantment's wearing off. Okay. I shall sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. NLT says, listen to this, you pleasure loving kingdom, um, living at ease and feeling secure. You say, I am the only one and there is no other. I will never be a widow or lose my children. Well, I'll continue in NLT. It says, well, both these things will come upon you in a moment, widowhood and the loss of your children. Yes, these calamities will come upon you despite all your witchcraft and magic. Okay. All the sorceries and enchantments is wearing off. It's no longer working. Why? Because every kingdom, every empire that's set up on this planet Earth is set up by the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashim Shai. And they all have a time limit. Okay. They all have a time limit as to how long they're going to rule. All right. How long the Lord's going to allow them to rule for. And America is at its end, really living on borrowed time. Okay. The American Empire, which is synonymous with the Edomite Empire, hence the daughter of the Chaldeans, all right, is living on borrowed time. Let me get something real quick. This is Daniel 4:17. Okay, and it reads, this it says, this matter is by the decree of the watchers, right? The angels and the prophets, right? We're also decreeing this. We're watchers. And the demand by the word of the holy ones to the intent that the living may know. And this is twofold. All right. Spiritually, it's talking about the living, it's talking about the elect. All right. We're to know this. Okay. Know that what? May know that the Most High, Yahweh, ruleth in the kingdom of men. Okay. And that giveth it to whomever he will, and setteth up over it the basis of men. And this is where we're at. Right? The heathens are the basis of men, but the basis of men, if you will, okay, is really Esau Edom. He's the basis of men, Esau Edom, the lowest of all creatures created. Okay, so not only are we to know that, right, the whole full elect, but the whole world, right? The living is also talking about the heathens, the rest of the world. They're going to know that it's the Most High who sets up kings and takes them down, and it's the Most High Yahweh who's setting up the kingdom of heaven, which is Yahweh's kingdom, and by default, the kingdom of Israel on earth. Second Ezra 6 and 9. Jacob, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Okay, so let's continue here. It says here, Isaiah 47:9. Well, both of these things will come upon you in a moment, widowhood and the loss of your children. Yes, these calamities will come upon you despite all your witchcraft and magic. Okay, call out Yahweh Shemashai. It's 11:44 a.m. You felt secure in your wickedness. No one sees me, you said, but your wisdom and your knowledge have led you astray. And you said, I am the only one and there is no other, right? Because what do the top wicked elite pride themselves on? They pride themselves on the sword, which is a blessing that Isaac gave Esau, Edom, but also their power of deception, their ability to deceive the world. Okay. And like I said, now that, you know, that wine, all right, the wine of Babylon is wearing off, people are sobering up, all right. We're getting to that time, Isaiah 14, okay, which is really going to play out in the kingdom, but you can already see the nations looking at, all right, the tiny tops, asking who they are, right, questioning their identity, their heritage of who they are, because people are waking up to the truth. Okay, and this all started by the truth coming out by the words of by the mouth of the prophets. Okay, starting with Abba Bivens on down to Apostle Tahar, on down to the rest of the bishops and elders of today, and the prophets of today. Okay, so um, let's finish this last verse. It says, I'll read verse 10 again. It says, you felt secure in your wickedness, yeah. No one sees me, you said, yeah, power of deception, right? But now everybody's seeing you. Okay, but your wisdom and your knowledge have led you astray. That's right. Because the knowledge of wickedness is really not wisdom, right? The pride of thine heart has deceived thee. Okay, so again, your politicians, the presidents, your senators, really the whole every every leader in every facet of the economy is paid and bought for, and they have no idea what they're getting themselves involved in. Okay, and you said, I am the only one and there is no other. So disaster will overtake you and you won't be able to charm it away. Calamity will fall upon you. Okay, it says calamity. So disaster will overtake you and you won't be able to charm it away. Calamity will fall upon you and you won't be able to buy your way out. Okay, no more, because this is going to be the end of fiat printing, fiat currency. Okay, everything that's happening alongside with this war, okay, that America is in, and it sounds like America's about to, Canada's just about to get involved as well. Um, it's all to bring about the digital system and the New World Order, which is the digital system, but without America. Okay, without America, America was that was the patsy for the top wicked elites to use for a time being. Okay, and you won't be able to buy your way out. Right, no quantitative easing. Right, printing of currency, stimulus checks, everything's going digital. A catastrophe will strike you suddenly, one for which you are not prepared. Yeah, the American people are not prepared for what's coming to America, aka Babylon the Great. But who are prepared in America? The elect, right? So let's go ahead and play this clip. This is from Arrows of Indignation 144. It says, listen up, the price of gas, oil, the price of gas and other things are about to get uncomfortable for most in Babylon. That's right.
And state media Iranian state media released footage describing what it says is a new and fresh wave of multi-warhead missile launches that will be aimed at targets across the entire Gulf region. They have come out and said the American people better get ready for $200 per gallon oil, and then that equates to $12 per gallon gasoline, $8 to $10 per gallon diesel. Now, I have a video that maybe we'll get to today of Tim Burchett saying that we are getting screwed. Retailers are already increasing their prices for oil they paid less on 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. The Iranian Revolution.
Yeah, it's gonna get bad real quick. Let's get this. This is 2nd Esdras 16 and 35. This is what the Lord says this to us, the true believers of Yahweh Shem Shai. And this is in the GNT. It says, now listen to my message, you people who serve the Lord. It is the Lord's message, so receive it and believe what he says. The disasters are approaching rapidly and they will not be delayed. A woman in her 9th month pregnancy may suffer labor pains for several hours, but when the time comes for the baby to be born, there is no longer any delay. Okay? So things aren't delaying, man. They're happening rapidly. Like the apostles are always, continues to say that you miss a day, you miss a lot. And it's true. Okay. So things are happening rapidly, man. So we're in that time. In the same way, the disasters that are coming on the earth will be not delayed. Okay. And the world will groan when it is caught in its labor pains. Listen to my message, my people, and get ready for the battle. So as we're witnessing these things play out and intensify, all right, the true believers, all right, of Yahweh Shema Shai are to do what? Are to get ready for the battle, which is a spiritual battle. We're not going out there, all right, call to arms and to fight, all right, and protest in any rally. No, this is going to be a spiritual battle. This is going to be a battle of your faith, a test of your faith. Okay, as we're in this grace spirit, that's what you're to do, is to build up your faith through the spirit and power and this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of Yahweh Shema Shai. So listen to my message, my people, and get ready for the battle. When disaster comes, you must live as people whose homes is not in this world. But that's really what's going to grip the mind of people and have them bug out. All right. Their whole existence and identity is wrapped up in America, especially 2/3 of our people. Right. They don't see a life outside of America. You might be able to take Israel out of Egypt, but you can't take Egypt out of Israel. And this is why a majority of Israel is going to be put to death, all right, in the coming days, and overall the destruction, World War III, and Babylon the Great, aka America, because they can't leave this world behind. But those of us that sincerely fear and have faith in Yahweh Shema Shai, we're to arm ourselves with this mindset, which we already should have. You should have been doing that already since you've been called into this truth. Okay, being spiritual pilgrims. When disasters come, you must live as people whose homes is not in this world. Okay, we're looking for a kingdom of heaven to be established. So get ready to lose as we transition from glory to glory. We're also going to be stripped and pruned of certain comforts and things that we're used to here, because this is a transitioning of worlds, brothers and sisters. All right, so arm your minds with loss. Okay, but with that loss comes glory, protection, all right, and divine instruction, ultimately salvation. Okay, verse 41, it says, merchants must not expect to make a profit from what they sell. They must be ready to run for their lives. Their customers must expect to lose whatever they buy, right? Without whoever builds a house should not plan to live in it. Okay, and it goes on and on and on, right? But the point is that be ready to lose to gain. All right, be ready to lose the world to gain more in this, gain more in the spirit. So let's continue on here.
Today of Tim Burchett saying that we are getting screwed. Retailers are already increasing their prices for oil they paid less on 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard issued a statement saying that only a complete surrender of Donald Trump will stop this war. The United States responded with an increasingly sophisticated military attack. In one operation that was described by defense analysts as psychological warfare, we saw hundreds of decoy drones flooding Iranian radar systems, the ones that are left standing. It's created false images of incoming American fighter jets. Iranian defenses, distracted by these fake or phantom aircraft, were ending up just striking drones in the air that had no missiles, no warheads. The International Energy Agency proposed and said that we may need to continue the release of a strategic oil stockpile. Europe began mobilizing their positions. 7 different NATO-aligned countries, including Germany, France, Italy, the Netherlands, Greece, and the United Kingdom, deployed their warships to what will be, according to some, the first stage of World War III. The chaos.
Yep, that's right. Let's get some precepts. This is Joel, but you're going to hear this precept a lot because this is manifesting right before us, man. Almost out of here. We are almost out of here. This is Joel 3:1. It says, "For behold, in those days and in that time when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem," right? NLT says, "At that time, at the time of those events, says the Lord Yahweh, when I restore the prosperity of Judah and Jerusalem." Okay, and this is so in the midst of the downfall of our enemy, right? We're being restored, right? The nation of Israel is being restored. Really, the elect of the nation of Israel is being restored. 2/3 will come back in the kingdom, all right, by this wisdom, knowledge, understanding. This is how we're being restored, this truth. Okay, so it says, I will gather, here's the point, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, Yahweh Shaphat, right? Shaphat meaning judge. So this is the Middle East over there by the Euphrates, in that area, okay, is where the Lord, all right, is going to judge the nations of the world. All right. For what? For what? Ultimately, for their wickedness and what they've done to the apple of his eye, his people, the Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and you speckled birds out there. Okay. And will plead, right? Shaphat, that's where that word plead goes into in the Hebrew, Shaphat, which means judge, and will plead with them there for my people, you see, and for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Okay. NLT says, I will gather the armies of the world into the valley of Jehoshaphat. There I will judge them. See, NLT tells you judge. I will judge them for harming my people, my special possession, for scattering my people among the nations, and for dividing up my land, which they've done. Okay. And it goes far beyond the land of Israel because go back to Genesis 15 and 18. That was a blessing that the Lord gave to Abraham. And he basically gave him that whole Levant, that whole crescent going up to the Euphrates all the way down to Iran. This is why Bibi's after it and proclaiming, we're not proclaiming, but this is what the Greater Israel Project is really all about. All right. They're trying to forward that blessing that was given to Adam or Abraham. They're really trying to take it for themselves. So this is another one, Zephaniah 3:8. Okay, it says, therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord Yahweh, until the day that I rise up to the prey. Who's the prey? The heathens, these heathen nations. Okay, for my determination, okay, the Lord's determination is to gather the nations that I may assemble the kingdoms, right, to pour upon them my indignation, the righteous anger. Even all my fierce anger for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire, all right, of my jealousy. The fire is talking about the thermonuclear fires, thermonuclear missiles. Okay. Um, and not to say that these missiles are going to hit every single part of the earth, but they're going to hit strategic areas of the earth, like America, the land of Israel. You know, Russia and China will probably get hit, of course, right? And other various parts, but the whole world is going to be, because it's going to be caught in, it's going to be caught up in the fire and the fierce anger of the Lord's judgment. So that's also the animals, right? Getting busy. People are going to be getting wherever there's no fire. People are going to be facing the elements of the wild. Okay. So let's see if there's more here that I want to bring up. No, that's basically. Oh, I'll read verse 9. Verse 9, it says, "For then will I turn to the people a pure language, that they may all call upon the name of the Lord Yahweh to serve him with one consent." So while the Lord is doing this, this is manifesting. This is happening. Okay. Ever since the downfall of the American Empire, all right, which is synonymous with the Edomite Empire, the Lord has returned to his people with a pure language, a Lashwan Kadash, which is the Hebrew. Okay. So we're not just Israelite Americans. All right, we're actually Hebrew Israelites. Okay, we're Hebrew Israelites. We have a language tied to our identity. Okay. It says that they may call upon the name, right, and serve him with one consent. NLT, it says, "Then I will purify the speech of all people," well, all his people, really, the Israelites, "so that everyone can worship the Lord Yahweh together." Right? So the Lord is purifying the speech. Also, you can link that to, okay, the breakdown. Okay. GMS, Great Millstone, starting with Apostle Tahar on down, we have the 100% truth. All right, as to prophecy and to the word of the Most High, which is contained in the Bible, which is the Bible. The word of the Most High is the Bible. Okay, and we have 100% truth. All these different other Israelite camps don't have 100% truth. A lot of them don't even have the name. But the prophecy said the Lord will turn to his people, all right, so they can call upon his name. So what's up with that? Okay, so let's go back.
Is now spreading beyond military targets. Iran said that don't go anywhere within 1 kilometer of a bank, anywhere in the world, because those are the future targets of the Iranian administration and their proxy allies. Even within the USA, authorities are on high alert. We just saw those Pennsylvania late teenagers, young adults, charged with terrorism after they threw the potentially explosives, but thankfully didn't go off, devices right next to police officers. Donald Trump responded to the Iranian claims that the nation possesses inalienable rights to enrich uranium. Here's what he said. America has the inalienable right to stop them cold. He signaled that Washington will use whatever means necessary to delete the Iranians' ability to enrich uranium. But if we're looking at the most alarming development, it's the rapid erosion of deterrence. Strength through peace is maybe about strength versus strength. Iran has threatened that they will shut down our entire economy. The United States has reportedly begun or started the preparation phase to escort ships through the Strait of Hormuz. And military planners say that once they do this, if failed, global shipping lanes will be the newest target. Missiles are flying, drones are in the sky, and naval forces are converging on one of the most military contested regions of our planet. Every single hour, this war gets worse.
Yep, that's right. That's a beautiful thing. So let's end it off with this, because he mentioned Iran said that we will destabilize or destroy the American economy. That's prophetic. Okay, so this is 2nd Ezra 15, and I'll start at 29. Okay, so this is in the King James. It says, "Where the nations of," actually, let me start at 26. So I can start at 26. It says, "For the Lord Yahweh Bashim knoweth all them that sin against him, and therefore delivereth he them unto death and destruction." Okay, 2/3 of Israel are going to be delivered to death and destruction. Okay, it says why? Because of their sins. They refused, all right, to believe upon Yahweh Shai, so that their sins will be covered by the blood of Yahweh Shai. So therefore, you're going to be judged under the law. And the Lord's and under the law, we're guilty on all counts. Okay, we are guilty on all accounts. And therefore delivereth he them unto death and destruction. For now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and ye shall remain in them, for Yahweh shall not deliver you. Exactly. Because ye have sinned against him. Behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. And we're witnessing this right now. All right, the nations, the dragons of Arabia, all those Arab states, the Arabian states, Saudi Arabia, Iran, we're watching Iran, which we're going to get into that in the next verse. Iran, okay, Kuwait, all those nations, man. Actually, let me see if I can pull up a Google Earth. And most of us already know this, but it's still good to go through it. Get new beers every day. Yeah, so Google Earth, we're looking at right, we're going in right here, right? You see all these different, you have, who do we have? We have Iraq, you have Baghdad, you have Iran, Tehran, you know, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Dubai, right? These really all up in here, these are the dragons of Arabia, okay? And so when we go back, it says, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, right? Modern day weapons, modern day warfare weapons, okay? Fighter jets and whatnot. It says, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. Also the Carmanians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood. The Carmanians are the Persians. Who are the Persians? The present day Iranians. Okay. So that's right here. Carmanians. That's Iran right here. Okay. So it says, and with great power shall they come, and so they should come and what? Own battle with them. Join. Okay. Yeah, there's no J. And with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians, which the Assyrians prophetically is talking about America. Okay, I was talking about America today. And it says, and then shall the dragons have their upper hand, remembering their nature, and if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them. So these Arab nations eventually are going to join together, and they're going to come upon America. Okay, by the way of by the way of most likely of a T attack, and then evidently it's going to be world war, thermonuclear war. Okay, because if you look at Saudi Arabia and all these different areas that are being bombed by Iran, right, Qatar, Dubai, right, they're not. They have military bases, American bases in their land and American oil refineries, if I'm not mistaken, in their land. But what has America done to basically back them up? Nothing. So eventually these nations are going to look at America like, yo, you're the problem. It's not really, you're the problem. We got to band together and take you out. Okay. And again, this is also a proxy war between America and China and Russia. Okay. Because they're allied with America, with Iran. So it says, verse 32, then these shall be troubled and keep silence through their power and shall flee. And from the land of Assyria and from the land of the Assyrians shall the enemy besiege them, okay, and consume some of them, and in their host shall be fear and dread and strife among their kings. Yeah, because they're going to be like, what the hell's going on? Right? There's going to be some kind of attack in the land of Assyria. There's prophetically talking about America by the dragons of Arabia and the Carmanians, which are you know who today, the Iranians today. Right? Because it tells you they're going to besiege them and consume of them, and their hosts shall be fear, and the dread of and strife among their kings. All right, trying to figure out what's going on. Presidents, the governors, all the statesmen are gonna be like, "What's going on?" Blah, blah, blah. But this is all prophetic, man. So, like I said, every single hour, this war intensifies and gets worse and worse and worse. Evidently, it's because the Lord is bringing death and destruction, the ultimate annihilation of the Lady of Kingdom, which is AKA America the Great, America, Babylon the Great. Okay. Yeah, that's basically it. So, Lord willing, this was straightforward and edifying to the hopeful elect. I'm going to close by giving all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, to the apostles, bishops, and others who gave most home and rule well. Taught me his word in truth and sincerity. All right, peace and mercy to the hopeful elect, starting with 144,000. That's also pushing his word in truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. Baba Ball, Kwana Sha'ala, and Shalom to the hopeful elect.